Hi again. My name is Emily. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking about this book that I started reading, City of God, St. Augustine. It's definitely changing my life and allowing me to see things that I was speaking about even just a few days ago, about how the wicked people in this world operate. And I know that this book does a really good job of explaining it in historical context. This book was written in like 416 AD or something like that. Let me see if I can find AD 426. So this is an ancient work of art, if you will, and it rings true today. So let's see which one I want to read first. There was this quote that St. Augustine referenced by Horace. It is the liquor. Let's speak English today. It is the liquors that new vessel first contains, behind them leave a taste that long remains. The liquors that new vessel first contains, behind them leave a taste that long remains. Here Horace is speaking about the innocence and purity that children have when they are first born into the world, and how that sweet nectar, if you will, because the word liquor has its own context, but I prefer the word nectar. However you want to call it, it is an essence of purity, of innocence, childlikeness, and the source of this is newborn people, newborn children. The source of this is God, the Creator. But a way that you can find it in real life is through very young children. Now, as we grow up, things pour into that nectar that make it less findable. It kind of is a melting pot that we get thrown into in terms of our personal development. And the personal concept that we hold for ourselves is at the whim and mercy of the people around us that believe they hold greater power than you do, and they attempt to wield that upon you in order to affect your nectar, affect your source of well-being. So I thought that quote was very beautiful and a good way to open up this discussion. I want to find a passage that I read yesterday that really stuck with me. Here, St. Augustine is talking about wicked people. These men, I say, hold Christ responsible for the evils which they deservedly suffer for their wicked lives. They have not the slightest appreciation of the fact that when they deserved to be punished, they were spared for Christ's sake. On the contrary, with impious perversity and bitterness, they attack his name and those very tongues which falsely invoked that name to save them. The very tongues which, like cowards, they held in check in the sacred places when safe, protected, and unharmed by the enemy for Christ's sake, they now use to hurl malicious curses against him. To see this and not acknowledge it with praise is ingratitude. To impugn those who give us credit is utterly unreasonable. Let no man with sensible ascribe this to the savage ways of the barbarians. It was God who struck all into ruthless and bloodthirsty hearts, who curbed and wondrously tamed them. God who long ago spoke these words by the mouth of the prophet, I will visit their iniquities with a rod, and their sins with stripes. But my mercy I will not take away from them. I want to read that one again. I will visit their I want to read it again. Immediately stutters. I will visit their iniquities with a rod, and their sins with stripes, but my mercy I will not take away from them. But someone will say, how then is it that this divine mercy was bestowed on impious and ungrateful man? Surely the answer is that mercy was shown by the one who, day by day, maketh his sun to rise upon the good and bad, and reigneth upon the just and the unjust. For although some who reflect on these truths repent and are converted from their wickedness, others, according to the words of the apostle, despise the riches of his goodness and long-suffering in the hardness of their heart and impenitence, and treasure up to themselves wrath against the day of wrath and revelation of the just judgment of God, who will render to every man according to his works. In like manner, God's mercy embraces the good with love, just as his severity corrects the wicked with punishment. A good man is neither... By the way, I'm like skipping certain lines, just reading what calls to me, what I feel needs to be said in this video. I'm not even sure what the title of this video is going to be. Perhaps Lessons from the City of God. I want to continue this as I read the book, coming on here and sharing with you what I feel needs to be said. Okay? A good man is neither puffed up by fleeting success nor broken by adversity, whereas a bad man is chastised by failure of this sort because he is corrupted by success. God often shows his intervention more clearly by the way he apportions the sweet and the bitter. Wow. Of course I'm rereading it, but it still feels very true. It is true. So what am I saying by that? I suppose I'm surprised that something that was written so long ago is still so very, very, very true, because it is the truth. Truth is without time and space. It is just is. There's another quote I'm trying to find right now. This one? Okay. Finally, there is another reason, well known to Job, why even good men must drink the bitter cup of temporal adversity, in order that the human spirit may test its mettle and come to know whether it loves God with the virtue of religion and for his own sake. If the wicked refuse to join in the blessed endeavor, they should be suffered withal and loved as enemies are loved in Christian charity, since as long as they live, there is always the possibility that they may come to a better mind. In this respect, the good men to whom the prophet addresses these words, he is indeed taken away in his iniquity, but I will require his blood at the hand of the watchman, have not merely an equal, but a far graver reason for concern or reflection. For this reason, overseers or rulers are set over the churches to reprimand sin, not to spare it. Nor is a man fully free from blame who is not in authority, but who notices in those persons he meets in social life many faults he should censure, and admonish. He is blameworthy if he fails to do this out of fear of hurting feelings or of losing such things as he may licitly enjoy in this life, but to which he is unduly attached. And my camera is going to die 11:33 when I looked. There is something very powerful and magical going on in this world. It's important to follow your faith and not allow the wicked to misguide you and mislead you. It's important as well to speak your truth. There is no fear. You are protected. Thank you for being here. I love you. I'll talk to you later. I'm going to pull really quickly from my deck. Thank you. Okay, bye.